last time on Dice Funk.
So what it is you take one of your potions, convert it to a vessel that sits in your eye, and then you infuse it with a spell which causes it to fill with whatever the spell is.
Two ideas of what this is. I think the different colors now makes me think. I think this is a God of Art type of situation right here.
Oh no, they have natural erosion patterns. They naturally erode into the statues.
Beast, you want us to be effective minions for you, yes? Are you going to leave a reliquary unattended with the useful trinkets inside? You say you will free us. Frankly, I doubt it. We have no ability to refuse you. If you order us to go there, to avoid the reliquary, then we have to. But I would recommend the capture of these items.
Well, if the reliquary isn't really where we're supposed to go, what even is it that you want us to do? I mean, you told us to find your guy. I think we found him. So, what do they need to find?
What I want you to find is a thing, right? And it's a thing. It's called a form. All right. They're gods, right? Or there were, and now they're dead. And where they get their power from, man? They get them from the forms, right? And it's out there. And if someone gets it, they're gonna take over this whole place, and it's not gonna be good for dragons or for obelisk. You know, the whole place is gonna be bad. We can't let anybody have it.
The thing? The thing? That's why you kept going, the thing?
So actually, I know what you're saying. You're thinking to yourself, this guy, he exploded my eye, so he obviously wants it because he's a big evil guy. But that's not true, man. What I want you to destroy it so no one can have it. Let everybody, dragons, you can have your dragon world, I'll have the ocean. It's good for everyone.
If this is even more powerful and dangerous than the things we have been finding in the reliquaries, I think maybe, I hate to say it, that does feel like a priority, even if we weren't the little guys, using big air quotes.
Critting on your investigation, I will say, is it appears Rex won, the elves fled, and then Rex saw that the item was made to go on the wrist of a humanoid, and he is a 25-foot tall giant, and was like, oh, bollocks, that's nothing to me, and left.
Yes, this is the Porky Mans, I think. that is what this is, yes?
Okay, interesting. Was not expecting that. You can use your pickaxe to tunnel under the display through the stone pedestal, grab the hollow runner.
Throg will go up and look at the green-eyed bugbear dragon or whatever.
That's an 8. Kill me now, Austin.
All right, so Treyan, you try to remove the card from the frame, and a green-eyed bugbear dragon steps out. You have chosen the form of your destructor.
Oh dear.
Oh shit.
My girlfriend wanted to say hi, and that if she was on Dice Funk, she'd play a, quote, uncomfortably angry grimace from McDonald's fame.
All right, last we left the adventure, you all found yourself in the art biome. You went into a reliquary. There is this museum-like building. There's art on all the walls, very beautiful. You found the aftermath of a fight between Rex and the elves. It seems like Rex won, but then left the Hollow Runner, the dual disc-like device behind because it was too small for him. And then Dan/Throg defeated my security system and got the dual disc out. To use it, you need cards, and you found that the art here in the gallery, basically it's big card art. And if you open up the frame holding the paintings, you can find the holodeck cards inside. But you accidentally activated one of them, which summoned Dan ad-libbed green-eyed bugbear dragon, which means I have statted for you to fight a green-eyed bugbear dragon. Roll initiative.
Now, because it was just summoned, it can't attack till its next turn, right?
You gotta understand, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! You can summon something in the attack position and attack on the same turn because summoning sickness is not a thing.
Damn it.
In Yu-Gi-Oh!
Or what if it just has haste? It could have haste.
It could be. It could have haste. It also might have. Let's see. It might have shroud. Banding. It has banding. That's what it has.
Well, because it's been just flat out summoned, it can't be like a powerful monster because there was nothing sacrificed for it.
If it has banding, I concede. I'm not doing that.
All right. Well, Treyan rolled an 11.
All right. Treyan's up first. By the way, there could be infinite amount of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic jokes in this one. I'm going to try to keep it to a normal amount. But if you've listened to our projects before, you know that Laura and I were like tournament level Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. And I have an embarrassing amount of Magic experience going back to middle school. So
I'm actually quite upset at you, Austin. Because of this, I started playing Magic the Gathering again. And I have 5 binders full of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic cards next to me to better make references at this point. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I have no idea how that game works. I tried to play Duel Masters once, and I read one card and went, I'm too stupid for this.
The only thing I know, like, about Duel Masters is it like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game is that it had a lot of growing pains because it was based off a game that wasn't really meant to be played at first because it was just from the manga.
yeah, it's funny you say how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works because it doesn't. It does not function correctly because of choices made in a manga. And then it continues to not function because Konami is kind of a shell company which operates pachinko parlors for the Yakuza and not so much a game design outfit.
Not anymore. Yeah, I will say that the biggest thing to remember about Yu-Gi-Oh! The only 3 things I've learned by watching countless top 10 lists are: number 1, if our enemy misses timing, we've won the match already. Easy peasy. Secondarily, if it gets its first turn off properly, it will win automatically. So, and 3, the most important thing to remember is that if it puts a card face down, we just got to be careful because it just might. No, shit, it might have a hand trap. We're really screwed now. Okay.
Well, we know more than anything that this fight will be over by the 3rd round.
3rd round. Oh man, that's slow. That's way too slow. Anyways, so Treyan's up, surprised, startled by the the green-eyed bugbear dragon is what it is?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm imagining a big furry kind of dragon creature, but with the face of a bugbear. It's like furry all over. Bugbears, if you don't know, are like a kind of orc-adjacent creature, which are like almost Sasquatch or Yeti in their fuzziness. But this one has piercing green eyes and roars at you, and it's like it barely fits in this gallery hallway, but it's large and in charge.
Well, Treyan is going to try to do a nice little combo to start off the fight here. So backwards flip kick for a 10, probably whiffs.
Whiffs.
Second attack. Wow, that's a botch on the second attack there.
It roars and emerald green flames erupt from its mouth right on you. Constitution save as you botch.
Yes. Let's see here. That's a 20 on the save.
Absolutely. You're only going to take half as 10 damage of
Jesus
green flames.
Christ.
That's a lot.
Now, wait. So it's green flames. What type of damage is that?
Green.
Green damage? Oh, shit. Okay, so it's not lightning damage. I got it. All right.
It's operating on fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules where all damage is real, but also fake, except when it's not.
Dan could have said anything last episode. He said that card is a harmless fuzzy squirrel. It is a little baby kitten. It is a harmless little guy. And you said bugbear dragon. That's what you said.
Just very choose the form of your destructor type incident.
Now, I also remember you saying, don't worry, it won't be that bad because you bypass the security measures.
Yeah, we got past. Yeah, listen, we bypassed one security system, and then you added security to the system, Dan. Okay, so
I mean, in hindsight, the security system would have created a night at the museum type situation, and it would have been, monsters everywhere. This is one. This is just a tiny, a little tasting menu for the security.
So, despite the counterattack, Treyan still has 2 more attacks because I'm invoking a key to do Flurry of Blows. Because you don't have to hit to do Flurry of Blows, you just have to attack to Flurry of Blow. That's a 12. Wow. I have rolled, so far in this round, folks, I've rolled a natural 2, a natural 1, and a natural 4. All right. Let's see. One last attack. And another botch.
What?
Amazing.
Incredible.
2 botches in 1 turn. Let's get this thing going. As Treyan is unable to comprehend the horrors of Dan's imagination and therefore whiffs twice in 1 round.
The green-eyed bugbear dragon can't use its breath twice in the same turn, so instead what it does, it actually leaps up as if to fly, like to take to the sky and circle you, as is its instincts, but in this narrow gallery hallway, it instead slams into the ceiling and then comes down inelegantly into a slam attack, throwing its body on top of you. 11, that's not going to hit, huh?
Nope. Treyan will basically, like, on the second, like, basically both times he's trying to jump and kick and, like, basically almost lands on his head each time. The second time he whiffs on his kick, he lands flat on his back and just rolls aside. So he's prone at the moment, adjacent to the green-eyed bugbear dragon. But he did not take that second attack, at least.
All right, it is going to be Throg's turn. This big fuzzy creature, I should say, it is not an animal living in nature. It is a beautiful artistic creation, and so Throg is this beast lands near you. It has like these, flowing mane and everything. It's like a shampoo commercial of a dragon here. It's not like a smelly beast like you might be used to. I don't know how that feels.
Ah, God, I more than anything just want to try to do some card game bullshit, but I cannot think of any way to justify it. Fuck. Gladys has the caster on, right? The hollow caster, whatever it's called.
The Hollow Runner, yeah.
Hollow Runner, that's it. I really want to take cards off the wall and start throwing them at Gladys to play.
I will say that the way that these spells usually work, and longtime listeners know this, there's the conjure, fae, conjure animal, conjure demon, or whatever. Those usually have a casting time of a minute, and this is memorable because we always fuck it up. People are constantly trying to summon shit, and I'm like, oh yeah, you summoned a thing, and then I check the spell book after recording, I'm like, motherfucker, you can't just summon that in the middle of a fight. So
I see. All right, there's probably no trap cards that just say destroy attacking monsters, so I guess I'll just all right, I'll take a swing at him. Let's see. I'm going to, that requires a bonus action. All right, I am going to take a swing at it with the pickaxe. Let's see here. 19.
Absolute hit.
25.
Hell yeah.
14, that's maximum damage. So that's 28 so far. I'll use Infused Strikes from Gort to increase that by, I believe, another d6. Where is he? Yep, 5 damage, so that was 28. That's 32. And bonus action for Gort to attack now.
33.
10, I assume that misses.
Correct. He just throws his body onto the big dragon and starts going for a ride.
All right. Yeah, he's tangled up all in that luxurious hair.
I will say, you're welcome, Dan. I burned all those bad rolls just for you.
Yeah.
I love statistics. I love how probability works. It's great.
Gladys seeing the big bugbear dragon crashing into the ceiling and thinking that could be a potential surrounding hazard if that keeps going on, and also wanting to reduce this thing's attack power, is going to try casting enlarge reduce on the bugbear dragon to reduce it specifically.
All right, Constitution saving throw. Boop. 12.
That does not hit. Woo! So this thing is reduced.
The green-eyed bugbear dragon gets ensmallened half of its size, and now its mighty roar is a much cuter kind of squeak. It's now available in plushies from our store. We really should have merch. I think this is a great opportunity for us.
Oh, it's been turned into like the Toon version.
Yes. Great Yu-Gi-Oh reference. Toon monsters.
Oh,
It is
yeah,
now.
I kind of know about those.
Oh, it's kind of like a reference. Oh, boy. The bugbear dragon is now going to wheel around on you, Gladys, because you have ensmallened it, but it is now kind of a little guy. So, 21.
I assume that's to hit, which it does.
All right. You take 5 damage from its itty bitty claws, which means you need to make a Constitution save to keep your prey small. So here's where the rubber meets the road on this spell.
All right, Constitution save. Let's go. That's a crit. 24.
Nice.
All right. What is the flavor on this Constitution save? A mechanic we so rarely engage with. But a Constitution spell is very powerful because you can make permanent changes to the battlefield. This one is you ensmallening this dangerous creature. How do you brave its claws and remain in charge?
I have one suggestion. I would have to say I do feel that Gladys has to like adjust her glasses. It gets one of those like anime glasses moments there, where she's like, it's like, you thought you could break my focus there, did you? Well, looks like you made the wrong play there, bucko. Just kind of.
This is your first fight with the glass eye, right? Which, let's be honest, Maximilian Pegasus vibes.
Yeah, I was thinking Gladys is maintaining her concentration just by I don't know the exact flavor, but I know that probably her eye kind of does a cool glow just a little bit to kind of indicate that she is putting her focus into concentrating even when she gets hit.
For our audience whose brain is normal, the first villain in Yu-Gi-Oh has a metal eye. I just want that to be clear. I don't know if everyone knows this.
Yeah, he talks like, "Ooh there, Kaiba boy. Ooh, little dragon, not so fast. I'm the real king of games," etc., etc.
Yes, absolutely. And we're back to Treyan.
All right. Treyan is laying on the ground heroically, obviously, and will use one of those. Oh gosh, I wish I had these names for attacks on ready demand, but one of those moves in capoeira where he basically does a handspring from a prone position to get upright and try to kick at the bugbear dragon as it made an approach onto Gladys, and we'll see if this round of attacks has any more to say. Wow, so that's a natural 3 now.
Nope.
And finally,
a
hit. We'll do the damage, and for that's maximum damage for 11 lightning damage. We'll burn a key point to try and pull a stunning strike on this boyo. That's a Constitution saving throw, DC 16.
And I'll infuse that strike so it gets an extra d6 damage.
11. The dragon fails, so I'm going to choose to succeed 1 of 3 times.
All right. So, Treyan's done 15 damage so far. He will then burn another key point to do Flurry of Blows. That is a crit.
Ooh.
So that is an additional 13 lightning damage. And just because Treyan's having a great old time here, let's just do one more attack for the round here. That's a 14, so that will miss probably.
Yep.
All right, so Treyan strikes twice after bounding off the ground, doing a total of 28 damage in a flurry of lightning and fire damage. One of the blows is clearly meant to stagger the bugbear dragon, but it shows it has enough resolve to avoid having its stance broken by just one well-placed hit.
All right. Throg.
Okay, Throg is up. He will swing at it with a big old pickaxe. And I crit.
Oh no!
So, there's a lot of numbers on here. Fuck.
Oh my gosh, you did maximum crit damage there.
Holy shit.
I don't even know how to read this. Total one-handed. So 20 damage.
Holy shit.
Should I roll for another attack?
Yeah, it still has a little bit more health.
Okay.
Yep. Also, what about the favorite foe? And it also gets doubled. And that also gets doubled.
Okay. And then I am going to swing again with my big old pickaxe. 22.
That definitely hits.
Extra 4 damage.
All right, is that everything? What's the total there?
Total, let me go through all this. Fuck.
41.
Oh, yeah, that's it. All right, paint me the picture of Throg and Gort defeating the green-eyed bugbear dragon that Gladys has made manageably sized.
All right. I think honestly the way this works is like you see it does like the anime cut in where you see like the flash in Throg's eyes as he goes in for a critical attack, and then you don't really see what happens other than like Gort's jaws on the ground and splatters of holographic blood as Throg is just sort of overhand chopping this thing to bits, and there's just sprays of blood ruining all these paintings on the wall.
Why did they program in holographic blood? Yeah, I mean, it's holographic blood, so it wouldn't damage the paintings, but it is troubling that there's that possibility because this is a kid's card game. This is for children.
You know what I like to think, Austin? That only the cute creatures get to do the horrific hyperviolence, which is why Gort's allowed to do it. So, for example, if it was like, I don't know, Melfi Rabby from Yu-Gi-Oh fame murdering a Blue Eyes White Dragon, then it's fine. But like, if Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks Melfi Rabby, he's just gonna, like shatter into dust like normal.
All right, so tell me what you do. You won the battle. The creature is defeated, and you all are now in the reliquary by yourselves, and you have all this art on the walls. We don't have to belabor it. I think as you go around the paintings, you can open up the frames now and retrieve the cards inside, which are like behind the full paintings. If you know anything about magic art, like an actual original painting. Some of them are done digitally these days, but also a lot of them are like oil on canvas, and they cost tens of thousands of dollars for the original. They're quite beautiful. But then if you want the version that Gladys can use in her Hollow Runner, it's like in the frame itself behind the painting, and you can retrieve a full deck of cards, Gladys. And to use this, you just described to me what you want to summon, and we can use the conjuration spells in the game to represent that. I will say they take a minute to cast, so not something to do in the heat of battle.
Gladys is probably like shuffling through the cards right now, trying to think of like which one she wants to pick out, like to test out first, because like she's like it starts with trying to be like practical about it, but then you can tell she's just kind of like admiring the artwork, like, ooh, this one's very pretty. It's got like I had images like pulled up earlier, and now I can't remember any of them. The only one I can remember is the like forbidden like chalice like book etc. set of like the girl in like the fucking dress like holding up stuff like, ooh, forbidden.
We love when things are forbidden, don't we, folks?
What about Chusuke the Mouse Fighter?
But yeah, like I think the one that she would eventually pull out is just like this really like extremely cute looking one that's like it's just like a little sheepy. Like I'm thinking of like that weird puffball thing from Yu-Gi-Oh with like the eyes, but I want it to be a sheep.
You talking about Karibo?
Yeah, Karibo.
Now, there's also this guy who is my girlfriend's favorite card and one of my favorites, which is Melfi Rabby.
Oh my god.
Okay, he's back.
And now
Holy
there is
shit.
fan art of this rabbit, which is also my favorite.
No,
which would be this,
don't do it.
which is extremely buff Melfi Rabbit.
God.
Which is the last thing you see before you die.
Okay, at least it wasn't pornographic.
The anticipation.
Yeah, or there was an incident earlier this season with Digimon pornography that I haven't really recovered from.
I would like to make a card suggestion, and it's the Burgermeister Master Burger, and it's sort of like a Mayor McCheese hamburger person dressed up in old fashioned German lederhosen.
That is very good too.
I just put a link to a site where you can buy, I think, original Magic art, and you can see like these paintings $4,000 or $5,000 for. These are like draft commons.
My favorite card is a Goblin Lockpick, because it's a picture of a goblin with a fucking like earpiece up against a door, like he's listening to the tumblers clicking, and then right above that is him punching through the window of the door just to unlock it from the inside with his hand.
Yeah, goblin shit rules. All right, so you gather a whole deck, Gladys, and you're good. The only other thing to mention about the reliquary, because you bypass the security, is that in the back room, like where a curator would have like boxes of stuff that they're restoring or cycling in and out, is instead a room with a coffin in it, and the coffin is open and the body part is gone.
I see.
It looks like we will not be finding you a new eye here.
I don't mind that much. The glass one is pretty cool, I might say, and I just who even knows if it would have been an eye? There are a lot of things that artists need. It could have been hands.
I feel like that would be very uncomfortable to have replaced or added. Where would they go?
It's funny you say hands, because of course the person who got the body part was a Hecatonkries, whose name means 100-handed. So we just slap him some more hands on that bad boy. It's hands on hands on hands on hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if Rex got it, then like maybe he's like, oh, like the art biome, the person making art, like maybe they like give people their hands.
I mean, so the way the body parts work is I give everyone a broad latitude to do stuff with them. So, Zana has like, veins whipping around and stuff. So I think it's just, Rex replaces all the hands lost in the last fight. So when you meet him, he has all his hands.
Like the ones fucking Gladys melted off of him in a war crime?
He still has some skeletal hands, but he also just has more hands. More hands for the hand boy. Hands, 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 hands.
Okay.
I just think the image of a giant with two very small hands just sticking out of his stump is the best.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like the guy from Team America, his little baby hand.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we've ransacked this museum. Where do we go now, folks?
All right, let's go find that form.
Yeah, we'll be following Sprinkles, I guess, to wherever the form is, or whatever lead there is.
All right, why don't you roll me survival to follow Sprinkles back into the art ecosystem and try to make your way where she wants to show you.
Survival.
24.
27.
8.
24 and 27 is a massive success. You are not going to encounter any problems along the way. In fact, you're probably going to find something, which I will add in a moment. But while we are on our journey, why don't you paint me a picture? What are conversations we're having here as the three of you leave this building and follow Sprinkles, who's just kind of flapping ahead, occasionally walking, and flitting around silently.
One of my children played that game we found in the reliquary. It was not as violent as I remember it.
Was it more violent?
Oh, backwards. This was more violent than I remembered it.
Oh.
Maybe I should not have let him play that game.
It could just be like a changing of the times. These are very old cards by like the masters.
There were mastered card game players?
Oh yeah, there was a whole like competitive scene. I don't know how to play the game, but I know that there were people who were really good at it.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think anyone knows how to play this game. He made up a lot of rules when he made me play with him.
I do not think that there was a father tax for playing cards.
I remember playing the Pokemon trading card game as a kid and not understanding how resource economies work. And so being like, energy sucks. Fuck you. I play Charizard. Eat my butt.
I had a kid justify saying, "Oh yeah, if you have all of the evolution line in your hand, you can just play them all at once."
Yeah, kids are awesome. There's nothing you can do.
I don't think a single kid that collected Pokemon in New Jersey that I ever encountered ever put down a single energy card when they played. In fact, I think whenever we had our cards around, no one had a single energy card with them.
That's not what I'm here for. I want to look at the little guys. What is this picture of a tree? Fuck this.
Yeah, like Gladys is just like I didn't even try to play. I had like friends who played, and I would ask them to look at the cards.
I'm remembering the good old days of like 2012 when I would come home from like fucking sophomore year of high school. Friends and I would get on Magic Legends 2012 and we'd play games over and over again with the pre-made constructed decks because they didn't figure out custom decks by that point.
I will say I remember one time playing that. We had done with some friends. We were in a 4-person match and we had figured out. I think it was actually a match that Quinn was playing, but with some others like Paw and the like. And we had figured out a loop to double the counters on one of the creatures. And every time a counter got added, it played a sound effect for each instance of that counter. So all of a sudden we're hearing 32 instances of that sound, 64, 128, 256. And at one point, it crashed all 4 of our Xboxes at the same time.
Perfect.
That's how you're meant to play it, baby.
Mm-hmm. Integer overflow. Win by integer overflow. Fantastic.
As you're all reminiscing about the good old days, you suddenly hear a voice echo through all your minds, and it says, hey, Chief, what are we talking about? You thinking about stuff back in my day? You know, I was quite a handsome guy back, and I had a switchblade comb. You know, and people always come over to my place. I mean, on the old Nintendo. And what are you all doing?
He doesn't have hair. What is he combing?
You can see like Gladys's face like visibly drop, like she's just like, oh my god, this fucking guy. For a brief, beautiful second, she forgot that this bozo could talk to them whenever they wanted.
What is the purpose of a comb? Is he removing sea lice?
I love that this person is so fucking evil, and they're like doing slavery, and they knocked out your eye, and your response is, "Look at this bozo!
Look at this fucking nerd,
fucking bozo."
People like it's like, oh man, he played a game. They have to use your hands. Like what? That's a kid's toy. You know?
It's like the banality of being a slave. You're like, yeah, you're evil, whatever. We hate you for that, but you're just fucking annoying, bro.
He has all this power. He can control all these things, but he can't be cool, and he hates that, and that's why he's trying so hard to impress us. But you know,
yeah. In an attempt to ignore him, I think Gladys is gonna like kind of walk a little up to the front where like Sprinkles is, and ask Sprinkles like, so how do you like doing the work that you've got to do? What's it like to just live in the day of the life of Sprinkles? If you're able to answer. I know the communication thing is a little different.
Yeah, this Sprinkles looks up at you and has a strange facial expression, which is being asked her opinion is triggering. I don't know that that's ever happened before. And she kind of like flaps up to you and like lands on the Hollow Runner to like look at you better. And she in the future, we know she has the Hollow Runner, and that is of course an interesting thing. It's that we're playing with here in the timeline is why does Gladys have it here and why does Sprinkles have it in the future? And she looks at you and she's trying to think of how to communicate when the Aboleth voice rings out again and says, You can just ask me questions. I got all the answers. That's just a little clay puppet I use sometimes. I guess she's having some of her own thoughts. Oh, she's thinking of now. Oh, she's thinking of now. That's so cute. That reminds me. That reminds me of my son. Oh, I guess that's me. I'm my own. That's because I remember being born. Oh, that's a trip. You don't want that. Oof.
Oh no, he remembers being conceived. That's even worse.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, I imagine in Aboleth culture it's not gross because it's unavoidable.
Could you imagine remembering every instance of your familial line having diarrhea? Perfect 100% recall of every uncomfortable bodily response you've ever had, every awkward thing you've said in a social gathering. Frankly, I'm surprised they are committing mass suicide.
It's just one unbroken line of bodily functions back to the beginning of time, right? Not to go Mario on the situation, but it is one poop from the beginning of time to the end of the world, passing through.
Oh boy.
Family.
I think in response to this guy being like, oh, I know the answer to all the questions, Gladys is like, well, I mean, you probably know the answer to a lot of questions, but I highly doubt you'd know the answer to how does X person feel about whatever the fuck, feelings, emotions. You only know your own emotions as well as you do.
Sprinkles is standing on your hollow runner, and she's looking through your deck now, because we know in the future how she communicates is talking through these cards. So I think that maybe the first instance of her asserting autonomy over Kushim is the Aboleth saying, I know everything. I have all the answers. You can just ask me. And then Sprinkles picks up a card and slides it through the hollow runner and summons something here. Maybe the what was this pink thing with with the big muscles that you put in here, Dan?
That is fan art of Melfi Rabby.
All right, a big pink fluffy rabbit appears in front of you and is all cute and so forth, and Sprinkles gestures to it for you, Gladys.
Do you like this buff bunny thing? I saw you going through the deck. There's a lot of really good ones in there. You picked that one out for a reason?
This is your type, yes?
So you're all walking through this watercolor forest while this is happening. So Sprinkles jumps off the dual disc down to the forest floor, which is made of pencil shavings and erasers, and walks over to this bunny and does this little pantomime show for you where she gestures to the bunny as if to answer your question of how she feels. And then she does a little impression of an aboleth. She wiggles her arms like they're tentacles and kind of slithers around. And then she picks up a rock, which is basically a big piece of chalk. And then she starts bludgeoning the rabbit.
Oh dear.
I'm sensing some animosity.
Uh-huh.
So what you're saying is she wants to be in a BDSM relationship with this rabbit.
Oh, no, come on.
No, Throg will sort of sidle up and put his hand on. Well, I guess he can't because she's so low to the ground, right? Unless she's flying.
She's also very
Even then,
small.
that's kind of awkward. He'll just nod sagely and be like, I fully understand what you are getting across currently.
Just Gladys is nodding her head yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm. The aboleth says, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe the things she's starting to think. It's all kinds of violence and stuff. It's dangerous. That's why you need me with all my information and my knowledge. I keep everything on track and directed in the correct direction.
I mean, it sounds like what you're doing is directly leading to these emotions.
It's complicated.
Okay.
Listen, Jack. You wouldn't understand. You're like a little baby, You're oh my baby, oh my darling, oh my ragtime gal, and I don't have to explain myself to you.
Well, generally speaking, forced enslavement of a creature leads to anger.
Yeah, it's never stopped anyone before, huh? Much to think about.
Well, I think we kind of reached the end of. We get that Sprinkles is real fucked up here, and I think we all just kind of want the apple to shut up.
I think, you all are kind of just like thinking, shut the fuck up, Aboleth, and Sprinkles finishes bludgeoning the little bunny that you summoned. Actually, in fact, the connection between these events is she, is bonking the bunny with a big rock, and then she looks at the rock in her hand. I said it was a piece of chalk before. I actually think now that she looks at it, it is a purple gem. And this is the thing you find for the 24 and the 27 is she like looks at it and it's a glowing gem. It's, she's small. So in her hands, it looks relatively large, but it is, it fits in the palm of your hand. And she looks at it and is like, oh, this is interesting. And she shows it all to you.
Ooh.
Can I try to identify what kind of gem it might be?
If it's, I was thinking like an Arcana check since it's glowing.
Sure.
All right. Treyan is going to put on his thinking cap, which is just a baseball cap that doesn't involve any thinking here. Wow, he rolls a 12 when looking at this.
I'll chew on it. I got a 13.
19.
13, 12, 19, that is an average success. So you all understand that this gem is magic. It is unique, and it is not part of this ecosystem naturally. It is not some kind of thing created by the god of art to exist here. It is external to the situation and has ended up here. With an average, I will say it's worth further study. It is worth bringing with you. You are not going to unlock its mysteries right now, but definitely someone needs to decide to add that to their inventory.
I think Gladys would like see Sprinkles holding it up, and it's like, oh, that doesn't look like it belongs here. Would it be all right if I just held that in my bag for a little bit? It seems pretty big for you.
Sprinkles nods and hands it to you. It feels vaguely warm, and it is like almost like a moving warmth. It's not static. I don't know if you've ever felt it's called 3D rumble that a PlayStation 5 controller has. This might sound insane if you've never felt it, but it is rumble that actually can move across the controller in such a way that it feels like you're holding a specific thing. It's mostly used in like one of the pack-in game for the PlayStation 5.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually know about that technology in a bit of detail.
Hell yeah.
In short, it's the same patent technology in HD Rumble on the Nintendo Switch. It's basically, instead of using a rotating thing to cause rumble, it's a unbalanced weight on basically like a speaker. So you can actually run audio files into it. So you can actually make it play sound effects as well as having very precise vibration all over the controller itself. It's really cool force feedback tech.
I am a broken person because my first thought on hearing about this was, I wonder if you could simulate the feeling of holding a bunch of worms.
Yes, actually.
All right.
Worms.
That's all I need to know.
Worms.
Listen. Now, more importantly, you could. This is not an ad. Like, you can feel worms for $200 with the new PlayStation controller they're putting out next year for some reason. I
don't know why it's not an ad. That's really all they should be putting out there.
Feel the worms.
That's why. That's why all of the PS5s have been sold out. Everybody's trying to get their hands on all these worms.
Stuff worms in their hands, stuff them in the pockets.
That should be their holiday ad. They'll take out like auto playing videos on YouTube, and it just opens up, and you just see the CEO of Sony just go worms.
The only exclusive that matters: the feeling of worms in the palm of your hand at any time.
We've canceled the release of God of War Ragnarok retroactively. We're taking it from your home and replacing it with worms.
And then there's just a little whisper, feel the worms.
But don't worry. Like God of War Ragnarok, at one point, the worms will turn to the camera and say, I am sad because of my son.
The worms are full of emotion.
Oh no.
The worms were an anti-hero at one point, and now they've had a moral turn, and thus they will get Game of the Year.
Now, the last task is to take all the classic PS1 titles, re-release them, but replace one of the names with worms. You got Jumping Worm. What are the other ones there? Is it Wild Worms or is it Worm Arms? I'm not sure which one is better.
The last of worms.
Okay. Outside of worm talk, I have added magic purple gemstone to my inventory.
Outside of worm talk, as if that's not the rest of the show. Yeah, you add that gem to the inventory, and that's good. And you all continue on. I will say, on the horizon, you see something, and it sprinkles points to it, and you're like, oh, "Okay, we're going there. Our survival was sick and nasty, and we're good." So you're approaching across a field of little flowers that are like they look like they were pencil drawn, which is very interesting to you, and they're like kind of brushing against your knees once again. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, this whole place, and relatively safe. The only fight you got in was because of a security system thing, so it's like nothing here is actually that dangerous. As you're crossing this field, do you want to say or do anything?
We're not going to get there before like nightfall, right?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we can definitely make camp. We can also do like montage quality to this. One thing I've been saying on Dragon Quest especially is that you are in much less of a rush than Pants for Pets LNC. There's a much broader kind of palette to say that this is like a long journey and you're taking rests and foraging for food and stuff, because Pants for Pets showed up and immediately did a murder, and so it was like they were being chased from the jump and had to kind of always be on their toes, and you are just kind of vibing.
I'm imagining if we went for like kind of like a montage type deal. Like, it's been a while since Gladys has gotten a chance to really look at like the artifacts that we've gotten with like an analytical eye. She's definitely like focused on like the hollow runner thing that she got. She's got it strapped to her arm and she's looking through the cards over and over, but like she might also like take a look at the ladybug shield I think that Throg has.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say you're in like a valley of beautiful flowers. You decide to camp for the night. You can roll nature, maybe to look for some food and stuff. And then let's just paint a picture of this camping scene, which is standing in for travel generally, which is happening over a number of days.
So I do automatically get food for my party no matter what through my background ability, but I would like to use nature to try to find anything abnormal or of use.
Treyan rolls an 11. I have an idea of what Treyan is doing and all this.
And I think Gladys isn't rolling nature because of the nature of how I described she's like looking over the items.
All right, so 11 and 9, that's average. That means, Throg, you use your ability to find food, but nothing specifically interesting. Mm-hmm. I think, as everyone's like setting up, maybe making a small fire, you come back into camp and you say, I found food. And then you just drop a big pile of worms in Treyan's lap. And everyone's chance worms.
Worms. Gork's face is covered with the paint from constantly eating these worms already. He's just splattered with it.
Treyan rubs his head and it's like, next time, not on the silks. I'm still trying to get my fabrics in order for later on.
This is like you dyed the silk.
Only if you're.
It is fancy, yes.
I'll figure out something with them though. And Treyan just sort of like hastily tries to get like various fabrics in nice little folded piles so that he can pack them accordingly, while also figuring out how to cook the worms that are filled with paint. What does the paint taste like? Is it safe to eat? Is it lead?
I can tell you, it tastes bad.
Well, that's just a challenge.
I know that from firsthand experience. It's not good.
Is it like the like the Crayola like child's like it's okay if your kid ate it, but it's not edible. Like this place is beautiful. Gladys like thinks this is probably one of the nicest ones besides the beach we've been to, but there's like it's pretty to look at, not to live in.
Can I make a suggestion? Throg, instead of a bunch of worms, found a section of like this art biome that's just full of kid art. So he's got like a hamburger that's clearly made out of just clay.
Wow. Also, what if something made out of Play-Doh? Because that looks delicious. It never is.
Oh yeah, I was just about to suggest Play-Doh. The fucking Play-Doh food sets. Like,
I'm just picturing Play-Doh being sold in like the vacuum in like the shrink wrap containers that you would get like ground meat in and stuff. It's very. Oh no.
The extruded pink Play-Doh like ground beef, and you're just like, let's fry that up on the campfire, and then smash cut to you all vomiting in the middle of the night.
It's like hey, roll to see how bad it turns out when he does smash burgers with the Play-Doh burgers.
I pulled up a list of PlayStation brand slogans, so I want to run these by you. Live in your worm, play in ours. It only does worm. Long live worm. Worm awaits.
Well, that one's pretty good.
For the worms.
beautiful PlayStation worm.
The last two could be cult slogans, which I'm pretty happy with.
Good gosh, I like living your worm, playing ours. I like that. So between fabric gathering and paint /food /Play-Doh /food gathering, plenty of failed attempts at trying to actually get a reasonable meal made out of this. Like, Treyan is grumbling a little bit while considering all this, like, oh man, I'm not even sure how we're supposed to get all of our macros with this, you know? I can't, like, what is this? Is it only carbs? Is it no carb? I don't even know, man.
All right, so the cool evening after that disgusting food journey is otherwise pleasant. And Sprinkles doesn't sleep as a homunculus. I don't think she requires sleep, so she just kind of, flaps around the perimeter.
Yeah. Well, I guess that won't really stop Throg, but once Gladys is either asleep or busy on watch, Throg will try to take Treyan aside for a moment if he'll acquiesce to it.
Treyan was probably like trying to do like the meal prep thing of taking some of the containers to try to organize specifically portion amounts of disgusting food in there for later before he's easily tugged aside. Probably wearing an apron. He's probably wearing an apron. He has to. He's got a nice apron on.
Say kick the cook?
Yes. That is exactly what it says.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Treyan, I wish to speak with you for a moment.
I was gonna say I probably should pack up the food before it goes bad, but yeah, it can't really get any worse than it is. So, yeah. What is it, Throg?
Yes, I need to speak with you regarding our current situation.
Well, our current situation is kind of a lot of situations all at once, Throg, so you might need to be more specific.
Throg will sigh and say,
I have walked us headfirst into hell. I need to entrust you with something. You need to keep Gladys safe, and if it comes to it, you must kill me. She does not have it in her.
That just seems like I know that we're in pretty desperate situations, but like, you see how I fight. You know, I've never had to kill anyone before. I don't think I've killed anyone yet. So I don't know, man. I get what you're saying. I just don't know if I have it in me to just.
I must tell you in no uncertain terms. If the Aboleth decides to, he will have me kill Gladys and then force me to try to kill you. You will have to stop me. And if it comes down to it, I am old, and she is more valuable than me. Keep her alive.
Well, at least you're giving me a heads up about this, Throg, so I can at least be prepared for it when it happens. This whole thing is so far above my head, and I think that the reason why I'm here is a bit different than why we collectively are here. So,
Treyan, I cannot speak for why you were chosen or why you are here. But what I do know is that you are smart, you are capable, and you will do great things in your life. I am at the end of mine, and I do not wish to bring more pain into this world. And if it means that I must be cut down, then that is what it is. And I have to entrust that you can do this.
Only if it comes to that, only if it's the only way to keep Gladys safe, to keep, I mean, she has so many good ideas for what to do up here. It'd be the worst if none of that got to happen. So
I think Throg gives a sad smile and goes, yes, she is. Well, she is the best of us here. No offense. I think she's going to do a lot more for the world at large than a couple of old toughies like us, yes?
I'm just, I'm just here because I was told to be here. So, if I'm...
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Oh, shit. Good.
For our 2 fans who know what I'm talking about.
Just to answer every question from Throg that way. It's like... but then Treyan will then say, well, here's my main counter for all of that, Throg. If it does come to that, and we end up having to finish you off or something, what would you want? What would you want out of it? What would you want afterwards?
I think Throg pauses for a minute. I don't think he ever really thinks about himself like that, what he wants. So he doesn't really know how to respond at first. And after a moment, he matches your gaze again and says, "Take care of Gort. That is all I need. There is nothing left for me in the world that was, and here this place is new. There is nothing yet for me. All I have left is Gort. As long as he is safe and happy, then I rest."
Listen, if you're thinking that if we don't get to that dragon biome first, and if you think I'm going to just carry your body all the way to the dragon biome, you might be on the right track, but I just can't guarantee it'll be easy to do that.
This biome, yes, I want to see it. But this is not my world. It is an idea made by someone. I would love to make something for dragons and dragonborn here. But in the end, as long as Gort is safe, then I can rest knowing that I left something behind that will go on.
In the background, Gort zoomies as he knocks a bunch of shit over, pots and pans.
Yeah, just eating worms, splattering paint everywhere, running after Sprinkles. Probably harassing Sprinkles, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
At least Gort appreciates the cooking.
Yes, I don't think I do not think he will ever be a food critic. Other than saying yes more.
I think Gort has a long future as a TikTok star of animal trying different foods. I don't know if you've seen there was like a dog that reviewed foods that someone sent to me.
I'm not familiar with it, but I can get the idea.
A while ago, that was like someone like having their like pet rat try foods.
Yes, put a little hat on him.
There's one TikTok I think called Melon Be Smellin', and Melon is a cat, and they just put things in front of this cat to smell, and then that they rate it based off the cat's response.
Awesome. Free advertisement for that channel. Go off.
Treyan will then chime in one last bit. It's like, I mean, it probably doesn't mean much, but if I want, I could try to, I don't know, make a little like something for Gort to wear if you want, just a little something, little flourish for him.
I think maybe there's like a very small flashback scene to like just a one frame to Throg with his family and his kids dressing up his like aged battle scarred previous Drake in like a little sweater or something like that.
Getting him ready for the holiday photo.
Yeah, like a pair of reindeer antlers or something like that. Like, yes, that would be nice.
He has a severed arm in his mouth and like, who's a handsome little gentleman? Who's ready? Who's gonna crunch?
Treyan will then nod. It's like, well, after I clean up the mess, I will probably get to work on that before catching some rest. This is at least a more peaceful biome than the biome of life. Man, these guys were weird, man.
Well, it seems like they were just people trying to, I guess, do what they thought was right. And generally speaking, people mess things up more than they fix things. I mean, look at this place. Very nice, very peaceful. Did not account for the taste of their food.
Yeah. We really should have. I wish we had packed up some more from the beach, but, live and learn, right?
Flashback to the god of art preparing to make the biome. She's just pulled an all-nighter working on a painting. You pans over to her fridge. Soylent. Only Soylent.
Oh, no.
She's just been drinking out of the paint water jug she washes her paintbrushes in.
Oh, so tired.
Just dipping her hands straight into a tub of Elmer's glue and eating it.
She's more art supplies than woman.
Wow, I'm actually getting really attached to this character. We gotta move on. I'm gonna feel bad about killing her. Humans will bond with anything.
All right.
I will say that Treyan will endeavor to weave together some clothes for Gort or something, some little flourishing bits before going to bed, so that will happen.
Gladys, you said you wanted to look at the hollow disc, the hollow runner, more thoroughly. Can I actually get, of all things, a religion roll, and then you can paint me a little picture?
Yes, I can give you one of those. Let's see, religion. 21.
Holy shit. Okay, so first I want to say, are you doing this like the next morning before the boys wake up? Is this something that you're burning the midnight oil on, and then they have to postpone their conversation about Mercy killing your friend?
I'm not sure which one. I think I like waking up really early to look at it, because I'm just imagining like Gladys is like I just maybe doesn't feel like super good from the shitty food and like woke up earlier than she even usually does, which is probably early, and she's like, I might as well look at this stuff while I'm awake.
Yeah, I'm sure your biorhythms are like if someone who owned a potion shop. That feels like a kind of thing where you got to get up at 5 to start baking the bread, as it were.
Yeah.
So if an early riser makes sense to me. It's great to have a character, just to really have a character in your head. And so with a 21, the first thing I want to give you is that this digital technology that is magical, this is something I think we talked about in one of our like more futuristic tech seasons. But basically the way this works is that people have miniaturized and digitized rituals. And so it is still magic. It is just magic on a very small scale. So what it is kind of like the things you would do with big sigils and fires and incense happening in programs in a way. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the Megami Tensei series, but if you've ever wondered why Pokemon are stored in PCs, what the fuck does that mean? It's literally just a ripoff of the Megami Tensei series where demons are summoned using computer programs, and they are therefore digital and stored in computers. And when Pokemon ripped off parentheses affectionately a lot of those mechanics, they just took that wholesale.
That makes sense. The PC storage thing always sounded a little weird. I remember in Sun Moon, like there's an NPC that's like, isn't it weird that we put Pokemon in the computer? What's up with that?
Well, now isn't it canonical that every Pokemon secretly had the ability to shrink itself really small all along?
Yeah, I think from the Arceus game.
Because I think they introduced that in Legends Arceus, and I think that's when I decided, all right, maybe Pokemon's not for me anymore. Maybe I've outgrown the series a little bit.
Yeah, they wrote themselves into a little corner. But I will say that there is magic happening here. It is not just technology. It is a fusion, and it can be replicated. I think earlier in the mine biome, from the audience's perspective, this might have literally been months ago, so a refresher. You were like, oh, a problem here is that even though the gods have created things to give to the people, the things are limited, space is limited, these tools are limited, and people will fight over them. It seems like even the most generous gift can incite conflict. And you, selfless person that you are, was like, what if we could copy these things, duplicate these things, hand them out? I think the phrase we were using was like democratize the gifts.
Yeah, because it's like being able to replicate like the way that the holodeck cards and the holodrive works would be like, because Gladys knows that this is technology that used to exist in the past, it feels like the most feasible one of the bunch we've got to be able to replicate, because the pickaxe and the shield are both like very obviously like a kind of god magic thing, while the holodeck is like, well, someone figured this out once before.
Well, actually, I have an idea here as like a through line. If it is a miniaturized ritual device that has incorporated a bunch of rituals through technology, why can't we use that to start duplicating these items?
Yeah, I was gonna say, make a card based on the items, and thereby use that as a basis to,
Right.
Well, yeah.
Because then you'd only really need to duplicate hollow runners, which I don't know if you could then duplicate through the hollow runner itself.
That
And
sounds
then-
like a printing a copy of a copy situation, but making like a custom hollow runner deck of like god items that you could summon sounds like a cool
and
idea.
If you then print like the useful ones in mass, like the pickaxe, which is effectively a super mining tool that I'm also using as a weapon to kill people with, then great, you now have a fleet of miners that can completely efficiently pull out all the order out of an area very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a 21, so I want to be pretty generous with this. I think this is an important step. Leaving these things to dice is terrifying. Because if you had like botched this, I'd be like, fuck you, you can't democratize shit. This place is doomed. Eat my butt. Which is it seems pretty rough, but luckily you did succeed. I will say that we got really close to the paperclip maximizer scenario there, or gray goo scenario. Ice 9, I guess, is the other example of the thing I'm saying. I don't know if you're all familiar with this idea that like if you made an AI who make paperclips, they would destroy the universe, trying to make everything paperclips.
I've heard of that. There's like because it's like it keeps using up resources just to make the paper clips, and it keeps expanding outward.
Yeah, and eventually all would become paperclip. So I, using the hollow runner to make hollow runners that make hollow runners is an interesting bad end.
I'm sorry that the gods tried so hard and everything got turned into a hollow runner.
The end of the universe is just a pile of Yu-Gi-Oh merch and a sign that says "Oops."
Wouldn't the hollow runner creation process require you to place a card into the hollow runner though?
Right. So you make you make a card that is a ritual of the hollow runner itself. Then you put it in the hollow runner, and then we have the halting problem all over again because it can't solve that ritual. So in order to solve itself, it then takes all the resources of the universe into itself to create a hollow runner. So you can have one hollow runner and stuff, or two hollow runners and nothing else.
Okay. I think I'm too stupid for this part of it, but all right, I won't do this then.
Gladys understands the ideas of conservation of mass enough to not try the Hollow Runner copy idea, but the other stuff sounds like a promising lead.
Yep, with a 21, you make tangible progress, and we can refer back to this as you do your experiments. I don't know if you want to put any particular flavor on this. Are you just pouring little vials on the thing and making little notes? But yeah, you have figured out that this is replicable, that the tools of the gods are just things that are like infused with their essence, and they are not, beyond possible understanding.
Maybe if I may make a suggestion of how this is working, while she's doing all the tests on the items at the same time, she's probably trying to actually create like test demo cards to run through the Hollow Runner to see how what is necessary to make a functioning card to do that.
I'm like the thing that my mind is going to, because it's like a tech thing, is like a QR code, and like each card is like kind of like it has like a unique one like in the card, but in a magic way. And I think Gladys could start trying to make like mock deck setups, like how would I replicate this to make it work for like the artifacts that we've already collected.
I'm the only thing I can think of. I'm hearing QR code activated object and making imitations like, oh, it's the Juicero, but with magic cards, with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So we're gonna make.
I was gonna go in a different direction, which are people who think QR codes are like the mark of the beast, and it's like a conspiracy theory about like the end times or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, in our universe, QR codes are actual black magic ritual shit. It's like that doesn't really help our case.
Well, also the QR code is quick ritual code, right? That's what it stands for.
Oh my god. Yeah, Gladys, you make some proxies of potential future cards, and Wizard's legal team kicks the door in like a fucking SWAT raid and just starts shooting you.
Oh, that was my time on the show, everyone. Goodbye.
Well, wouldn't this be Konami's Yakuza coming to obliterate her?
You can't do that. We gotta make our own special non-functional cards and charge you lots of money for it.
Oh no, Kiryu is gonna come beat us up.
Oh my god, I would love to break the law if it meant Kazuyo Kiryu kick my door and whip my ass.
I don't want to die. Oh wait, no, he's canonically never killed anyone except that one guy he held in front of a hail of bullets.
He absolutely has mangled 1,000 men. Okay. All right. So you all break camp and head out, having accomplished a great deal. As you make your way across the field of beautiful flowers, sprinkles kind of flapping alongside you, you see what you were being brought to, which is the wreckage of a vehicle. Specifically, this was a skiff, which is a kind of land boat in the D&D world, and you will need to roll investigation to know more, but it is pretty big, and there is clearly some kind of damage to it, and there are items strewn about. So that is our morning investigation.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Does my perception help at all for finding things here of interest?
No, let's just roll investigation. Come on.
Damn.
Come on.
Let's see. I got a 24.
Oh, 15.
Treyan puts on his investigation. Treyan puts on his investigation hat, which is the same as his other hat, but just turned around, so now the brim is facing backwards. And he rolls a botch.
Jesus Christ.
Let's go, -1.
What, you twisted your own head off when you turned the hat around?
No, like he turns the hat around and like gets blinded immediately by like some glare, and it doesn't know, like it's someone who like they're wearing their hat backwards and their sunglasses are on their head, and they're using their eyes to shield their eyes from the sun, their hands to shield their eyes from the sun, sort of energy. Like he's trying to look, but he's having a hard time seeing because of the morning glare. If only he had something to protect his eyes. Well, too bad he's just stumbling around like an idiot.
That's some good himbo energy.
24 and 15. So the group succeeds. I'm going to add something bad with the botch in a moment. But until then, I will say you look around this skiff. It seems like it was damaged elsewhere. I will say that there's no sign of like a battle or some kind of accident here. But it seems like it was damaged and eventually it finally failed. It has wheels on it, but otherwise like a large boat. You see that there is some equipment that was left behind, but also there's a lot missing. So it seems like some people survived and left. And so it wasn't like a massacre or anything, although you do find evidence that people were injured. There like are dried blood stains here and there, like very dark old stains. And you find some ledgers and journals and stuff. You're flipping through. 24 is Gladys's role here, so very good. I'm going to give you, specifically, you find a journal from someone who's on this expedition, and you start reading it, and you can figure out basically this was one of the first people to venture to Arabella, specifically the second expedition team, led by someone known as Captain Dwayne. And this person has been brought up before. They were specifically the person Red said they came up with. Red the Cyclops, mentioned, I think, episode like 2 or 3. That's who she came up with.
Oh, yeah.
So this captain was one of the first people to ever set foot in Arabella. Canonically, the first one was Captain Young, if anyone's curious. But this person says, they went on this journey, and a lot of the details are just like, oh, we look at this thing we saw, look at this thing we saw. They were just kind of looking around, and so I'm going to give you more, but with the 24, you're reading this while Treyan and Throg kind of stumble around and accomplish less.
I like this is happening the morning after Throg tells Treyan that he is smart, which is just like, listen, old man.
There's different kinds of intelligence. Treyan's very, creative, good at making dances and all that.
Yeah.
Apparently doesn't know the concept of the sun.
Yeah, I think that fellow journal haver herself, Gladys, would be pretty excited to find like what sounds like a fairly intact like ledger of events that this group had like before like whatever crap caused them to like break down and leave the boat.
With your great roll, I think the most relevant information you find here is a description of a biome to the east that this expedition saw. Specifically, they found a biome where it appeared that there was some kind of a phenomenon they couldn't explain. Specifically, that the gods created all these ecosystems with certain ideas in mind, their godly portfolios, but also their target audience, the people that they wanted to inhabit the land. But it seems like they saw something which seemed to come from outside of this world. Specifically, these forms we've talked about, these platonic ideals, are like very perfect things which occasionally intersect with this world. And so you basically read them describing seeing something in the sky which seemed not part of this perfect design, and it basically streaked across the sky, and they saw this phenomenon and were like, oh shit, this is pretty intense. And we know from Dio's finding of your journal in the future, Gladys, that there was basically what was described as a land of falling stars.
Ooh.
Do we have any idea for Treyan's botch? This is very funny to me. I'm trying to think of how do you hurt yourself or make something worse with a botch.
Maybe there was like a useful item or something here, and Treyan just fucking steps on it and breaks it.
Or alternatively, like Treyan stumbles and steps on like some more of those paint worms, and they just sort of like splatter over some of the other journals and thus ruins them to some degree to make the information less easy to attain. Or he just somehow like stumbles into like an exposed gas tank, and the impact starts the vehicle being on fire, and it blows up in like 10 seconds. I don't know.
I actually like the idea of you stepping on worms and like destroying some of the other paperwork here. In fact, I will say, throughout this Dragon Quest, none of you have been made aware of the biome at the end of the world, at the eastern edge, that has not been finished, which is the core kind of driving force of Pants for Pets LLC, because the reliquaries you have been in so far have not been created by gods who are interested or knowledgeable about that. The one in the mining one was also that one was glitched. That person who made it like edited their message wrong. The biome of life was like all fleshy and he ran away. The art one was not really. You actually didn't activate the system correctly because Throg went through the bottom of the pedestal.
Oh no, I QA sequence broke.
You didn't trigger the correct flag, and now the whole main quest is bugged. But no, I think this is actually the first time you learn of this because you were reading through some of the paper here, and you see that like Captain Dwayne mentions finding a reliquary and touching an item and a ghostly image coming out and telling him that there is this traitor god among the old pantheon who didn't complete the task set out before them, didn't create their ecosystem and die and leave behind a body part, and that they were trying to check out that situation. And then Treyan steps on a worm and squirts paint all over the pages, and you don't know all the details that Captain Dwayne learned. I think the specific thing that is kind of destroyed here is that Captain Dwayne speaks of encountering the traitor god and having some kind of conversation with him. We know from the fight with Rex in the future that Rex basically had his mind broken by the traitor god and was like, you'll never understand. You don't know who you're messing with. You don't know what they're the god of and how all this works. This is like a mystery and a puzzle and you're doomed. This captain had some kind of similar experience, but the botch consequence is you don't get any clues about that.
Can I make a called shot?
I'm scared. I am terrified right now.
I'm gonna say that the traitor god is actually just Austin, and he's tired of having to come up with all the plot lines and stuff. So he just left it blank, so someone else has to do it.
That's very funny because in a meta sense, it's kind of true because yes, I'm leaving a blank space for the players to create their own biome, and then we're gonna set a future season there. So in a sense, yes.
Haha, 3 for 3.
Okay.
I thought about the call shot. You were like, okay, Throg's gonna punch out Treyan in the back of the head for like.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hook the pickaxe right into his spinal column and yank it out.
Jesus Christ. I think Gladys would be like bringing like this like the information, the papers and journals she found over to like Throg and Treyan. Like, oh, look at this! Look, we've got a lead on the form that we're trying to look for, and we've also got this other information that Captain Dwayne left, and then like the paint splashes all over the conversation, and Gladys is just like, well, we could still work with what's still visible. It's just like she's.
Yeah, I think Throg just kind of drags his hand down his face and goes, "All right, so what we know is that there is a part of this world that is unfinished. Yes."
Yeah. So two specific things you learn is about the main quest Panzer Pets LLC has been on the whole time, which is there's part of the ecosystem that's unfinished because of a traitor god, and that this person is out there and up to shit, and it's like a whole mystery. That's not super relevant to you. It's just if you were curious about that, now your characters know. There was like more that maybe Treyan can learn here that then he would take into Panzer Pets, but the botch means that is not true. The other thing is that you know where to go to learn more about forms because this party saw a phenomenon to the east, which is not a part of Arabella. So
with that in mind, I think Throg's very mission focused right now. We have to deal with the form stuff, but this statement about there being an unfinished biome in this world with a rogue god is immediately triggering his is this a danger to dragon sense? And he's concerned in two ways.
Number one, a traitor god, if every one of these other gods sacrificed themselves to create their biome, and it is still around, that means it likely has some sort of goal in mind. Whether that is for weal or woe is of concern. And two, this will just create an arms race like these items that we had fought with the Elves for. A brand unspoiled biome to just create, that is very much something we will have to deal with.
Yeah, it definitely sounds concerning in multiple ways. Like, after we take care of this, like, falling stars, like, UFO phenomenon, like, thing up in the east, I guess, like, if we run into that issue, like, I guess at least we know about it now.
Yeah, I think if anything, the aboleth speaks up and says, "Oh gosh, that's no good." You know, that if it's a threat to dragons, it's a threat to aboleth. We're in the same boat. You know, you and me and you, so happy together. It's we gotta figure this out. We can't let this happen.
I think Throg's upset that he agrees with the aboleth.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, Gladys kind of, like, hums, like a bit concernedly, and is just like, I guess it's worth asking you, the aboleth, if you think this traitor god thing is going to get in the way of this form thing you want us to be taking care of.
You know, this wasn't my department, other people's religions and so forth. I was around before the gods they were even born. Not me, my grandpa, and their gods are actually the gods of the gods of the gods. It's a whole thing. Things have been around a long time. So I'm not trying to remember every John, Dick, and Harry here, who's throwing their thing around. But yeah, I think if there was, there's a lot of bad hombres. It could be. So I think you got to keep a look at. But I think also the thing about the gods is that they were people. There wasn't like, back in my day when it was like Zeus, he's throwing his thunderbolts around. It's like that's a man. It's like a mountain man. But like these people, they were just kind of walking around, just like you.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. My next thought that comes to mind, he's essentially intoning, if I'm understanding him correctly. I'll be honest, sometimes it gets hard to parse what the aboleth is saying to me. I get lost in the Joe Bidenisms. Is that very well this could be someone that is walking around that maybe not we've actually encountered, but theoretically could just meet out in the world as an active agent.
Crabsolutely.
I think the way Throg would approach this is we have been to the life biome, we have been to the mining biome, and we have, as you said, seen that these are just places created by people, each with their own strengths and faults. Maybe we are wrong to contend to the idea that this is a hostile god because he or she or they, whatever, is labeled a traitor. And it did not agree with the idea of trying to intentionally create a world for its own limitations as a being.
It's so interesting playing with someone whose brain works. What a change.
Yeah, I can think sometimes.
Yippee!
Yeah, so the line of thought is that, who is considering the traitor god a traitor, right? The other gods. Well, what do they know? We saw the shit they made. Some of it kind of sucks. So maybe they're the wrong.
It's specifically, according to the notes that she found, the other god calling the traitor god a traitor, correct?
Correct, yes. And we know from Pants for Pets that some people were trying to figure out who the traitor was, and the god of lies, with the most valuable source, one might think, told Dio that it wasn't who you'd think. Like they were like interrogating gods of, trickery and death and so forth. And they were like, oh, it wasn't any of those guys. Weird.
Yeah, and I think the god is actively avoiding using his wish, and is probably honestly just hiding so no one can force their own ideas out into the world then.
I think you're all talking about this, and the aboleth says, Hachi, Machi, y'all are thinking on some fourth dimensional levels here. You guys solving the mystery. Interesting. So far ahead. I underestimated you, you little scaly fellas.
I this is a idea like that I kind of like posited as like a half joking like kind of fan theory like in the Discord, but like you guys talk about freedom, and like I think about how like there was a character in a previous season who became like the god of identity, and I was like, well, if you're the god of identity or like something really abstract like that, like what would you like if you make a world about identity? It feels like that defeats the point of it, like being, because it is inherently about just one person's perception of that, but like every individual is unique, etc., etc. So like I just wanted to throw that into the pot.
Mm-hmm. I will say the aboleth chimes in and says, well, if you can find this traitor god on the road, you should kill him. If you come across him, maybe take his body parts and stuff, maybe make your own ecosystem. For me, I know you don't love me with your whole heart and your whole soul. You got a heart full of soul, but I think if you're asking my opinion, maybe make a place where you can be more like me. You remember everything. Your mind lives forever, and your parents and your parents. That's why we're the best. Because we remember everything. Dragons, they live forever, or not forever. They live so long. That's why they got all the magics and stuff. It's pretty cool.
It like. Aboleths, you guys are probably the only ones who could handle remembering everything forever and ever.
The aboleth says, I mean, if you just you can make a whole grove with trees, and the trees grow eyes, and then you could pluck them off and put them in, and then it'd be all back to normal. You got to think with your whole noodle. You got to think 7-dimensionally. You're on the 4th dimension. I'm on the 8th dimension, man. You can get your eye back.
I don't think I need a whole orchard of eyes for that. And I...
You gotta plan ahead.
So it's like you gotta get a whole orchard so you get to pick the pick of the crop.
Well, I think there is nothing more we can do here at the moment. So I think Throg would be like, all right, let's just gather whatever we can of value from this wreckage and probably just head towards that star place.
All right. Well, Treyan just sort of nods a bit at all this. It's all kind of confusing to him, but the idea of having just having the ideas of the fact that there's something that is at the end of the world and everything else distracts him from just being embarrassed about messing up all the notes with the paint worms. And with that, I guess just go with the party. And I guess
I will say, as you move east, you come across a couple of different features of the art ecosystem. If there's any ones you want to add for flavor before we leave here, the one occurs to me is like a plane made out of like whiteboard material, which is just like you're walking on and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? And there's just like little skittering lizards made out of like a dry erase marker, and they're just marking it up as they run along.
Oh, beautiful beasts.
I can suggest a giant walking oven creature that sculpts things out of clay and then shoves it in. Oh no, they're little clay creatures that jump into the oven to get themselves calcified as part of their life cycle.
Oh my god, so it's like a snake and the mongoose. It's the clay and the oven creatures, and they're just kind of doing their thing. I love that.
mm-hmm.
Ooh, I have an idea for a creature. So one of my favorite things about painting miniatures is not actually the painting, is that when my palette, after a while, it builds up layers and layers of paint, and then I like to stick a little sharp thing under it, pull all the paint off, and throw it all out. What if it's a creature that, as like
that's good,
old like paintings and stuff get cycled out, it's essentially just like a slime creature that's made out of layers of dried paint that then hucks itself into a pool of like a hot spring of paint thinner to dissolve itself back into its base materials to then be reintroduced to the ecosystem.
Absolutely. I think we should just definitely set something here later. And in a future season, we're just visiting here on a vacation arc.
Yeah.
We're just gonna hang out with these folks.
I like to think that the things drying on the dry boards are called exposquitos is the term I would use for them.
Thank you very much.
And then there's little like dry eraser type things there that just chase after them. So it's just like a little bit of a symbiotic but also hostile relationship between the two.
There's one performance art piece, and it's just a guy sitting in a cage.
Yeah, the artist is present, but an animal. It's really upsetting.
Oh God, there's a Banksy land. Let's walk around that part.
Yeah, we're gonna actually have to bulldoze Banksy land and build some condos here. That's the first part to go.
Yeah, so are we actually going to be able to see the end of the art biome this episode? Or are we still traveling across all the dry erase boards in this case?
I think you can see the end of the biome up ahead. It's pretty far in the distance. Once again, we're doing kind of montage qualities here. But the thing that strikes you about the far distance is that it seems dark in a way that's unusual. Usually, nightfall is kind of something that creeps up on you. You can see the sun going down. But the way the sky here works, where every god kind of got veto power over their own sky, and all the stars and planets seem really close, is actually neighboring ecosystems can have completely different solar situations. And where you are, it is like early morning, and up ahead it seems like it is midnight. And that is extremely strange to you. And as you are seeing this, Gladys, you feel a strange warmth from your bag.
Is this gemstone one of those fucking new one things? Like, she wouldn't know that, but is it?
Sarah.
We're just calling your shots.
Yeah, it's so okay.
I had to do it once. I don't usually get to do that because my brain doesn't work that fast.
Do you get nervous when we say called shot now?
I'm starting to. It's very funny though, the dichotomy between these two teams, because you all are like aggressively, up ahead of me in every point. Gladys, you can pull out this purple gem and it is glowing, and you feel the warmth inside that. The movement we discussed for like half an hour about the PlayStation controller and all the worms, it is much more aggressive now. It feels almost like a living thing inside the gem.
Ooh. Gladys is like holding this gem like arm's length away from her, like turning toward the others like, this thing is shaking. What should I do?
As you hold it out, it seems like that you hold it in different directions and towards different things, and the glowing changes, the warmth changes and moves. Like it has opinions about where it's being moved.
If I hold it towards the horizon where the next biome is, what does it do then?
It seems to get colder and less interested.
Interesting. Which direction is it the most excited about?
Yeah, I think if we start playing hot and cold with this purple gem, you like bring it over to the art installation with the guy in the cage. You bring it over to the dry erase mosquitoes. You're like trying different things, and it's getting warm, it's getting cold, it's moving and twitching. It's trying to express something. And you bring it over to a thing we discussed last episode, which was the naturally occurring marble blocks. I think we discussed some of them are evergreen and some were deciduous, which is to say some are already carved into statues and some kind of like naturally fall apart and regrow their marble.
Am I holding it up to like a blank marble like block, or is it already carved with something?
I think as you approach one that the gem seems most interested in, it is a already carved statue of a humanoid figure, something like a kind of an androgynous statue of David.
Just a tiny penis.
I think this thing, like, I don't know what this thing is trying to tell me, but it's telling me something about the statue over here.
Okay, Throg will get out his pickaxe just to be ready. It's made of rock, so hopefully he could just kind of explode it if need be.
Yeah,
I put it up to the statue. Let's see what happens.
yeah. I was about to, I want to be cautious, but I'm also pretty curious about what's going on.
You hold the glowing purple gem up to the statue, and it gets really hot. Almost like too hot to hold on to. And in fact, I think you instinctively like flinch and let go for a second. And the gem sucks up to the statue, like as if magnetized, slurp right up against the back of the statue, which begins trembling, shaking, moving, and then almost comes to life. The arms and legs bending with unnatural articulation, almost flesh-like, despite clearly being made of marble.
Creature, are you intelligent?
The statue kind of gets off of the platform that it was on, the bottom of the block of marble, looks around, and says, "Intelligent? I'm Dio."